Hello petals, my name is Anais. I am a womb witch, a Rahani energy teacher, and a plant alchemist. Under Unfurling Alchemy, I guide women in reconnecting with their power, awakening their essence, and step into sovereignty. In these episodes, I am going to approach topics around womb mysteries, energy healing, and cyclic living. Hello petals, in this episode I want to talk to you about why you need to stop thinking that womb work is only for making babies, because the realm of the womb is so much wider than this. I know that when most people hear the word womb work, they immediately assume, associate, think about babies, fertility, getting pregnant. And I used to be one of those people, by the way. And yes, absolutely, the womb is deeply, deeply connected to fertility, and it's a beautiful, powerful, raw part of what the womb holds. But here is the thing. If that is the only reason you think womb work exists, you have already dismissed something that could genuinely transform your life. Now, I notice this happens, this dismissal, this rejection, this no, happens in particular ways when people are in particularly flavors of their life. If you are not currently trying to have children, or you have made a decision to not have children in this life, you may think that this is just simply not for you. If you already had children, you may think that your womb work days are over. They are behind you, that ship has sailed. If you are in perimenopause or in menopause, you may assume that the womb has just become now irrelevant at this point, like it has done its job and we move on now. Or, if you had a hysterectomy, you may believe that womb work is simply not accessible for you anymore. But I'm here to tell you that none of those are actually true. Because the womb is not just about making babies, and the womb is not just about that physical aspect that lives within your body, it is very much about that powerful energetical portal that is with you, no matter where you are at in your journey. So the womb really is where your intuition lives. Let me repeat this. The womb is where your intuition lives. It is your inner compass, your deepest knowing. It is the place where you actually know what is true for you, even when your mind is telling you something different. Most of us have really learned to override this. We have learned to ignore it. We have been taught that our thinking mind knows best, that logic should lead, that feelings are, unreliable. And so over time, we move further and further away from this quiet knowing that lives inside us. And womb work is mainly about this. It is about coming back to that, reconnecting with a wisdom that has always been there, that has never actually left you, that has simply been waiting for you to return to it. The womb is also where your creative power lies. And I want to sit with this one for a moment because it goes so much deeper than what people realize. Yes, creating babies is a big, magnificent, raw, powerful, ancient part of this. But your creative power is so much more than that. It is the energy behind everything you want to bring into the world, everything you want to bring life to. Your ideas, your art, your work, your vision for your life. And when we disconnect from our womb space, we often notice it there first. There is a flatness, a lack of inspiration, a lack of drive. There is a sense of going through the motions without any real aliveness behind it. And creativity is not just about making things, it is about feeling alive in the process of living. And so much of that comes from being in a relationship with that womb space inside of you. And then there is our voice. Your ability to actually say what is true for you, to hold your boundaries without guilt or apology, to take up space in a room, in a conversation, in your own life. I want to stay here for a moment because I think that this one is more important than we often realize. Because so many women have spent years, sometimes decades, swallowing what needed to be said, staying quiet in situations where something inside them was screaming. Agreeing when they actually did not agree. Shrinking in rooms where they had every right to take up space. And over time, that silence becomes a habit. And it becomes a default setting. So you even stop noticing that you are doing this. And the cost of that is absolutely enormous. not just in your relationships, but where you slowly begin to disappear inside dynamics that absolutely not honor you. But in your sense of self, in your relationship with your own truth, when you consistently override your voice, you begin to lose that trust in yourself. You begin to question whether what you feel and what you think and need is even valid. And that disconnect from your own truth is exhausting in ways that is really hard to name. So when women reconnect with their womb, one of the first things that their relationship that is shifting is their relationship with their voice, because there is a direct correlation between your voice and your womb, between your throat and your womb. They are so beautifully interlinked with each other. And when we are then stepping into that work, this is where the directness comes back, the clarity, the willingness to be honest, even when it is super uncomfortable. And it's not about being louder, it's not about being more aggressive, it's just about being clearer, being more rooted, being more willing to let what is true actually be spoken. Within the womb as well, we have the blueprint for money and abundance and worth. And I know this may feel surprising depending on where you are on your journey, so stay with me. Your womb is deeply linked to your capacity to receive, to feel worthy of good things, to attract and hold abundance without guilt or fear, to attract and to hold. A lot of women know how to attract abundance, but not to keep it, not to hold it. And when we are disconnected from our womb space, it shows up in very specific ways. In, for example, undercharging for your work, in deflecting compliments, being really cringe, uncomfortable when we're receiving compliments, in giving and giving without allowing ourselves to receive, in tolerating less than you deserve because somewhere deep down you are not sure that you are actually worth more, in struggling to ask what you need, in feeling guilty when good things come to you. And so many women carry this quiet voice that is saying, but am I worthy? Am I enough? And so much of this is rooted in that disconnection from our womb, because the womb is where our sense of worth lives. Not the worth you earn by being kind of like productive or useful or good enough, but the worth that simply exists because you exist, because you are simply a spark of the divine. And when you begin to reclaim your womb, your relationship with money and with abundance often begins to shift. Because at the root of both is the same question: do I believe I deserve to receive? So when women come to me, yes, some of them are on their fertility journey. Some of them may have PCOS or endometriosis. Some of them are in that phase where they are trying to conceive, or they're preparing their body to wanting to go on this fertility journey. Maybe they're healing from a miscarriage or baby loss. And womb work is absolutely supportive of that. But to be honest, that only represents a really small part of why women actually need this work. Because women come to me from all different stages and flavors of lives and for all different reasons. Some come to me because they feel like they're at a threshold, at a crossroad, a deep knowing that something is not quite right, but they cannot name it. Their life often looks like fine. It's fine, fine from the outside. They're managing, they're functioning, everything is all right. But there is often this soft uncomfortableness inside of them, that feeling that is getting louder and louder, and just this sense that the life that they have built is not quite fitting with who they are anymore or with who they want to become. Some come because they are carrying a history of sexual trauma or abuse, because something happened to them that severed that relationship, that sacred relationship to their own body, to their own womb space, and with this space inside of them. And they are ready to reclaim that. They are ready to find their way back to what belongs to them. In all of these cases, the path back to themselves moves really through the womb. Because the womb is your compass. It holds your truth. So when you are relearning to listen to it again, when you are reacquainting yourself with what actually yes feels like in your body and what no also feels like in your body, you can start to make decisions from that place, from sovereignty, from alignment. So the first step is to know, to listen, to relearn how this feels in your body, and then from there to learn how to move from that space, and then from there to learn how to build this life that is in actual alignment. But there is something else I just want to name here, something that keeps so many women from this work before they even begin. And some of you will have awareness of this, and some of you, will not realize that this is something that is influencing them in the background. And it's the fact that we have been taught that our womb is something to be uncomfortable with, to be ashamed of. We have been taught that talking about our menstrual cycle is just not appropriate, that our bodies are in this way inconvenient, that this part of us is dirty, wrong, too much. And that shame runs so deeply, and it gets passed down to generations. It gets reinforced by culture, by religion, by the medical system, by the simple act of never having a single honest conversation about what it means to live in a female body. And what that shame does is it quietly and consistently is separating us from our power. Because when we are ashamed of something, we stop listening to it. You stop listening to it. You disconnect. You override. And over time, you lose access to the very signals that were trying to guide you. Your intuition becomes harder to hear. Your boundaries become harder to hold. Your sense of worth becomes harder to access. And all of that disconnection can often be traced back to this fundamental severing from the womb. So womb work really is a reclamation. It is saying that there is nothing to be ashamed of, that your body is not broken, that your cycle is not a curse, that your needs are not too much, that this space inside you is sacred and ancient and powerful and wise. And you have every right to come back to it. And really, when you're stepping into that reconnection, I cannot describe to you the transformation that is happening within your life, that is happening within yourself, and the access to the power and to the wisdom that you couldn't fathom that you are actually carrying. So if you have been walking past womb work thinking that it is only for people trying to get pregnant, I want to gently challenge that. Womb work is for you if you feel disconnected from yourself. It is for you if you are at crossroads. It is for you if you carry any shame or trauma in your body. It is for you if you want to attract more abundance in your life. It is for you that you are menopausal, if you had a hysterectomy, if you have chosen to have children or not, if you already have them. The womb does not become irrelevant at any stage of your life. It simply keeps holding what it has always held: your intuition, your power, your truth, your compass. And that means that this work is for you, full stop. And so my invitation here is to see, to think, to feel, what if this portal to everything you have been searching for has been right here this whole time, simply waiting for you to come back to it, and already lives within you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I see you in the next one, Petals. Much love to you.